grass seed, fertilizer.
So this recording was made April the 7th, which was when I put all the grass seed down. And today is Saturday, May the 23rd.
Okay.
More in it, but I'm not going to show all that again. But I thought this would be a good video to show in the background while I talked a little bit. It does look like the cold weather is either going to stunt or eliminate most of my flower seeds. There's a section up the hill here that I saved some flowers for, and they're coming up nicely. They've only been down a week and they are up already, and I will grab a video of that and stick in here somewhere. But I don't think the majority of these flower seeds are going to make it because it was below 50 degrees for a week at a time, and they may come up, but it's unlikely between the cold and the excessive amounts of rain that I've had that these seeds will survive. Whatever did survive, the wildlife is probably eaten by now.
That one was a mediocre success.
So the no-mow lawn is made up of Dutch white clover, creeping red fescue. Those are the two that become, once established, and will take a year or two for them to establish nicely, they become the no-mow lawn. The annual ryegrass is to provide shade and prevent erosion for them too while they are establishing, and you actually can mow it off and it becomes a little bit of mulch, but the goal is not to have to mow. So you can also purchase Dutch white clover that has a lower flowering rate on it. That will help keep there from being so many bees in your lawn, which I guess if you had children or pets or really close to the house, I could see doing that. It's extremely expensive, and it still has flowers on it. You still have bees. Bees are your friend. So I don't do that. I just bought the Southern States variety, and I'm okay with that. But I would reconsider it if I had children or something like that. But it's not a situation for me that really matters that much. And for the application rate for the seeds and the fertilizer, I just use the manufacturer's recommended rate. So whatever that is what I use, and I round up to the nearest bag or percentage that I have. And I usually put all the seed down. I don't save it. Doesn't have a very big shelf life. I bought it to grow. It's not super expensive, although I think it was $80 for the clover, the red fescue, and the annual ryegrass. But it all went down in one place or another, not necessarily right here, all of it in this site, but across all the lawns and everything. I put it all down. And lastly here, you can also buy creeping red fescue at lawn stores and roll it out in sod, at a sod farm, sorry. So you can roll that out just as the creeping red fescue. And if you did that, then you wouldn't have to put the clover in there, which would eliminate the bees. But of course, sod is also very expensive. They also make a patented plug that you can buy plugs and plug your yard with that has a name like No Mow Lawn or something like that. And that stuff takes a couple of years to establish, but you can plug your lawn in if you really want to spend big bucks on your lawn. And creeping red fescue is a shade, semi-shade plant. So it's not really for the full sun. It won't do well in the full sun. And then here's a few clips of the grass just progressing along. And it will switch to a video here in a while. And the video was taken today of what the lawn looks like today. And that is May 23rd.
take the picture standing up there, facing down this way. The little marker up there that I stand up, so I always take in the same place. But over here shows where I drove the tractor across there, much better. So after I seeded, the container came and I had to drive the tractor over here to move the container. And I drove through there, and I drove right below that bank right there. So you can see those tracks fairly well, but it may come along. We'll see. And then I drove all over this bank. So, but if you look close, you can see the little clovers down in there. And this may be the annual ryegrass more so than the creeping red fescue, because creeping red fescue doesn't have wide blades like that. So a lot of this greenery could be the annual ryegrass, which is fine, but the creeping red fescue is a very slow grower, very slow grower. But you can see how it's really doing well down here. And more little clovers. Be neat to find a 4-leaf clover. So hopefully the ryegrass, which is what I think most of this is, will let the clover establish, and then the red fescue probably will be pretty slow to come on. You can see I've got some erosion there and there, so the water runs down through here, right there. And then another spot it runs down is right there. And I actually piled wood in that spot right there because I didn't want it to get out of control. There's a couple of little erosion spots up there, but to be expected. Another rainy day here. I believe it's rained as many days as it has been nice. But this section right here in the shade is doing spectacular. And then the further up the hill you go, the worse it gets. So right here along the edge of the driveway, I seeded only red fescue and clover. So there's no annual ryegrass right here. So I'll show you a video of that. And here is how that looks, and shows you how small the creeping red fescue is. You can see, patches of greenery right there. There's a nice patch there. Doing good right back there. This did get fertilizer. It's probably, I did it very lightly. The lowest rate on the bag. Probably could use one more dose of it. But if you can see, there's a really slight little green sheen to all of this along the edge here. And now that the temperature has warmed up, hopefully that will bust loose. Look really nice. See the little greenery to it right there. Daylight, you'll see a little bit better. Yeah, you can see it. Now it's just slightly green right there. A little green spot back there. You can see it's green. So hopefully that'll bust loose. In another few weeks I'll do another video. Hopefully it'll be established. Here's a nice little patch of it. You can see what the blades look like. It's real soft. And then you can see it all through here. Here it is. It's about ready to bust loose. Now that it's warmed up some, it should be much happier. And you can see right over here, it's just a slight green to everything. But this area wasn't as subject to erosion like it was down there, so this didn't need the annual ryegrass. So that's why I put it up here. It's a good example of the difference between the two. And that grass clump over there's always been there. I don't know what kind of grass that is. Kind of pretty though. If you look right here, you can see how big the clover is. And then that'll give you an idea of the height of the fescue. So the fescues are still teeny tiny. And you can see they're where's my finger? They're just a single grass blade. They're not flat, segmented like that down there. So most of that down there is annual ryegrass, which is good. And then right here, above the rock wall, I planted some more of the seeds that I got from cheapseeds.com. It wasn't seeds I saved, it was seeds that I ordered, and they came a couple of weeks ago. I'll have to look and see what day I put these down on.
It was May the 3rd.
So, if you look, you can see they're up. There's one, there's one. And so I sowed it. I don't know if you can tell or not, but these sticks right here kind of outline a little area. So it comes right like that of a short variety. And then I planted columbines right there, and then up here I planted, I believe it was sweet alyssum again. So, and then I mingled them together so they blend a little bit. But if you look, you can see, whoop, they're up.
So I planted foxglove, creeping thyme again, and Virginia stock was up there at the top that I said was sweet alyssum. That was actually Virginia stock, and then columbines down at the bottom.
Well, here's my spiral staircase I bought from North Carolina. Drove 2 hours to go get that. That will not go up anytime soon, but it will go up. And originally I had thrown some clover seeds right along the edge right there. And you can see there's a lot of clover right there. But if you look back between the flowers right here, I actually seeded it right there. And then I had a little bit of topsoil left over, and I slung that over top of this the same day, which could have made a very big difference for moisture. But as much rain as we had, I don't think that's an issue this season. And you can tell it's been cold because the flowers are just sitting here. They're okay, but warms up. Hopefully this will fill in solid. Really like this one. Look at that thing. So nice. All right, so here is the garden update. Come here. Good boy. Good boy. So the hobby horse has not gotten away, so the fence is doing its job. Here is my garlic and my new garlic. And some irises, broccoli and cauliflower, Swiss chard, a vinca that came up all by itself, This was radishes. They did not make it. And these, actually this, was all supposed to be squash. One of them came up. And I've got one of corn. So in another 10 days or so, I'll probably plant another batch of corn there, and then another batch of corn there. Right here are turnips. These beds are empty right here, although I have one beet coming up right there. It's a kale from last year that survived that's going to bloom. Planted in these 4 crates is lettuce, and then also already here is a bok choy and some lettuces that were my early lettuce, and then I just planted the rest of the lettuce in there with the same thing. My strawberries are doing awesome. They're very happy. So still a few blossoms left. Nice strawberries coming along. I got a rubber snake in here somewhere. Keeps the birds out. But if you don't move it around, the birds will figure out that it's not real. There it is. And so you have to move it around. And I like to put a rock in here so it looks like he's sunning. So I just move him around. But strawberries are doing well. And these hoops right here are where I had to cover it because we had some killing frost. It's 28 degrees. I think it got a lot of my seeds I planted over at the container house, my flower seeds, the grass that's coming up. These crates right here, these 2, 4, 6, are future tomato plants. Last year I had sweet potatoes here. And then this is my second planting of tomatoes. They get better as we go up. The freeze did kill my tomatoes even though I covered them. And then planted in with my tomatoes are my peppers. So that's a pepper, tomato, pepper, tomato, tomato, pepper, tomato, tomato, pepper, tomato, like that. And peppers and tomatoes are very happy together. However, where it dropped below 50 degrees for more than 10 days, the peppers probably will not produce flowers or fruit, so they probably are trash. And it looks like something's enjoying munching on that one. So that will be my second planting of peppers right there, which are going to get pulled up, and another planting of peppers will go in. Then here on the end are my jalapenos. They should be okay, or they are okay. So I have 4 early girls, 4 celebrities, 4 big boy. No, cherry red. My big boys died. I don't have any more big boys. So that's cherry red, only 2 cherry reds, and then 2 sweet 100s. And so these right here are prolific producers. And all my tomatoes are indeterminates. Let's see, down on this side, oregano, golden oregano, and rosemary. And then 1 volunteer carnation. That's Dianthus firewitch, I believe. It's a nice little plant. But that's it for the garden update. Here's just side stuff. Crates without bottoms in them so that if I want, when I do potatoes, which I'm not this year, I've got too many projects going on. I set that on top of one of these crates and double and triple the height for my potato production, but not this year. All right. And hobby horse's leg still hasn't grown back. Right, Juju? Say bye. So if you want awesome tasting tomatoes, you've got to do 2, possibly 3 things. A, you need to bury them deep. So the root ball for this tomato is sitting on the bottom of this crate down here. So that tomato is that much underground, that much above. So it's actually more of it underground right now than there is above ground. And you can see where I've had some cold damage, which kind of confirms.
So after watching this video here, those could be spider mite damage. Be treated with neem
The 2
oil.
most important things for your
I'm
tomatoes
going to have
taste
to
good.
do a little more checking on
You
that.
need an egg in here or eggshells. So just throw a broken egg down in the bottom, or save your eggshells like I do through the winter. Just put them back in the carton, put them back in the refrigerator. When the egg carton is full of empty shells, you just break them all up by hand and put them in a Ziploc bag. And when you come out here and you dig all your holes, you throw however many eggshells you've got down in there. And then 1 teaspoon/tablespoon of Epsom salt, depending on your soil. The Epsom salt makes the calcium in the eggshells available to the tomato plant, so the tomato plant can take up the calcium. And a lot of people, and myself included, the reason I like a whole egg in there is the yolk has a lot of sulfur in it, and that is also available to the tomato plant for a good tasting tomato plant. So if you don't do the Epsom salt and you don't do the eggshells or the egg, your tomato's just going to taste like a store-bought tomato. Then planting it deep will help it survive. And so the Epsom salt and the eggshells help keep you from getting blossom blight, blossom end blight, which that happens in the blossom and then shows up in your tomato, and the end of your tomato is black on the end, and then eventually gets over. And once you've got it, it's difficult to get rid of. But that's the reason for the eggshells and the Epsom salts. One other thing, when it turns really dry, you don't want to water them all at once or your tomatoes will crack. So you've got to keep your moisture steady. If you let them dry out and then you water them for 2 hours, your tomatoes are going to crack. So with the container garden, slugs are a problem. The slugs get down in this crack right here, in there and underneath the crates, and they are rough on my all my fruits, especially my my strawberries. So I've got these tops off of Gatorade bottles in here, and I just cut it off and stuck it down in there, and then I make my own solution. 1 cup of sugar, 1 package of Fleischmann's yeast, put warm water in there, let it sit for 2 days. It can sit longer than that, but it's not ready till 2 days. Basically, you're making watery beer. And so then I take this awesome tool right here, and I go through and I splash some of the water out, but not all the water out. And it's got lots of runners on it. And these can get really stinky if there's a lot of slugs, if you don't stay on top of them. Last year, I didn't start these until later. I had a lot of slugs. 1,000 slugs. But now they're under control now that I do this regular. So I'll show you just all I do after I make my solution here. And so I just pour it right in there. And so you can see slugs down in there that have crawled in there and drowned, got intoxicated and drowned. And then if I've got one that's turning green, I just pour more in it, flush it out. Got a green one down here. Where'd it go? Here's a green one. So just pour it in there and flush it out. So if they start getting too green, it's a sign that it's full of dissolved slugs. But we'll pull this one out and dump it and see how many slugs are in here. So this one has a gob of dissolved slugs in the bottom. But right here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then there's some remnants, and there's some remnants. So time to dump that one out. So that one had 6 slugs in it. So 6 slugs times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 20, 30. So 30 of these, if each one has 6 slugs, that's 180 slugs. And this has been out here 2 days, I think. So, and then I just take my stick, so I don't have to touch it, push it back down in there to where it's right at the top of the soil level, more or less. Fill it back up. And that keeps the slugs off the strawberries and everything else. It has rained so much here lately. It's been crazy. It'll be a good year for the slugs, I bet. So we'll stay on top of it. All right, thank you for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it.